Hello, my name is Veronica Boyd, and today I'm going to be talking about sexism for my Psychology of Women class. Sexism is one of those things most people don't want to talk about. However, I feel it should be discussed. Like any other controversial topic, sexism has its own stereotypes and misconceptions. When you ask someone what sexism is, they'll probably tell you that it's the discrimination against someone based on sex or gender. And that's a good definition. However, it doesn't really speak to the connotation someone has about sexism. If you ask them to elaborate, my guess is someone would say sexism happens to women. Even the Webster definition of sexism is discrimination against someone based on sex, especially against women. I highly caution against that kind of thinking. If we view sexism as a woman's issue, then in our patriarchal society it makes more sense that it should be viewed irrational or even irrelevant. But women aren't the only ones who can experience sexism. Therefore, sexism is not a woman's issue, it's a social issue. The institution of sexism and the way it's manifested and perpetuated in our society affects all people, men, women, and children. Yes, women are faced at a higher rate with sexism, but men can face it too. Anytime someone generalizes, makes assumptions, or discriminates against someone based on their sex, that's sexism at work, regardless of the gender. I do, however, see how important it is to look at sexism through the feminine lens. I also feel it's extremely important to keep in mind, both in this course and in life, that sexism is not a unique Western or North American issue. It's a global issue. I find myself doing it sometimes, and I notice my peers forgetting that things that we face here in America are not the only things faced around us. Additionally, especially in regards to sexism, women in countries less fortunate than ours have grown accustomed to far more severe punishments. Last, I think it's important to explicitly state that sexism is still alive and well. I say that because I come across far too many people that try to justify that sexism is an issue of the past. Just like any other form of discrimination that has deep roots in history, sexism has not just faded away because time has passed, legal reform has been made, and movements have been done. Sure, the explicit demonstration of sexism is no longer considered a social norm in our society, but that is no justification for sexism not being present. Today, sexism exists in a far more covert manner. It's institutionalized in our society by the practices put in place by its explicit history. The easiest example of that is the wage gap. Women earn 77 cents to every male dollar for the same work. Crawford references this in her 2012 text, and President Obama referenced it in his State of the Union address on Tuesday night. More than a year later, that wage gap has been unchanged. That is a wage gap that was unacceptable then and is unacceptable now, and it wouldn't exist if sexism was truly dead. And thinking about the thousands of people that have drawn attention and tried to change the wage gap over the many years, it seems that it has no intention of being diminished. The wage gap lingers because when women finally decided to leave the house and find work, or were forced to leave the house and find work, they were paid substantially less than their male counterparts for the same work. And yes, that wage gap has decreased, but it's still here and it's still unfair. I would like to finish by reminding that sexism is not uniquely feminine experience. Men can experience sexism too, although it is very important to view sexism from a feminine perspective due to the nature of sexism in history. Second, sexism is a global issue, not just a Western one. And lastly, sexism is alive and well. It's something that's going to take a lot more time to be gone, if it ever is truly gone. I think Mary Crawford said it best when she titled her book Transformation, alluded to the fact that women's studies and women equality is a journey that is nowhere near finished.